So, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the valedictory session of this forum, the 22nd edition of NASSCOM India Leadership Forum. And we are eagerly assembled here to meet and hear our next speaker, someone all Indian movie buffs, not to mention globally dispersed fans, would love to love. And if I can pronounce the word right, our Kadal Mannan, Love King. Kadal, yeah, thank you. I was expecting some goof up. Yeah, you trained me also, sorry about that. So, Kadal Mannan, Love King. And while we are eagerly waiting for him, one couplet rings in my mind which says, we are all fans, right? So it says, आशिक कभी मरते नहीं, आशिक कभी मरते नहीं, जिंदा दफनाए जाते हैं। आशिक कभी मरते नहीं, जिंदा दफनाए जाते हैं, कब्र उखाड़ कर देखो, इंतजार में पाए जाते हैं। हमारा इंतजार यहां खत्म हो रहा है एंड उस इंतजार को खत्म करने के लिए मैं बुला रहा हूं, may I request Mr. R. Chandrasekaran to please come on the dais, introduce and welcome our valedictory speaker and lead us to the session. Sir.
Thank you, Rajiv. I wish I could come up with some cliches like that. First of all, I have to learn Hindi. But thank you, Rajiv. Now we have come to the concluding session of NILF 2014. It has been an amazing 3 days. I hope you all had a wonderful time, thought-provoking time, a lot to look forward to. As they say, last but not the least, as a tradition of NILF, we always reserve the best for the last. Now we are all very eager to welcome the guest of honor for this session. He doesn't need any introduction. He has been in the film industry for over 50 years. He started his career when he was just 4 years old. He has acted in over 200, to be precise actually, 212 films, I believe. And I have been a personal fan of him. I have watched every one of his movies, except one, Mumbai Express. So, such is the talent. He has been entertaining all of us for several years. We all admire him. So, on behalf of everybody here, I would like to welcome Dr. Kamal Haasan to be with us this afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Kamal Haasan.
Sure. You want me to sit there?
So I take great pleasure in welcoming you, sir, for this afternoon session. You know, there are a number of traits that you have that we all admire, and it's a great source of inspiration for all of us in this industry. Those traits are the passion for excellence. You know, you have been in this industry for over 50 years and you have always tried to excel with every one of your films in whatever you do, the passion for excellence, and always the drive to do something new, something different, pushing the limits, pushing the envelopes, has made you what we believe to be very, very successful. So we'd like to understand more about that. Your versatility as an actor, as a director, as a person running a production film unit, Kamal Films, as a choreographer, as a playback singer, as a music director, whatnot. How do you do all this? How are you so versatile in whatever you do? And one thing, we all admire in the technology industry is your eagerness to really leverage technology to take film production to the next level. Now, we all talk about nonlinear revenue in the industry, but you have introduced nonlinear editing way back in 1993 itself. And I have also read so much about your recent movie, Vishwarupam, how you have leveraged technology in producing that movie, particularly trying out for the first time in the films a 3D immersing sound. I believe it's 11.1 RO 3D technology.
13.
Yep. So we'd like to hear, your quest for applying technology to make the film production and bring our Indian film on par with or even better than what we see from the Hollywood. So you're really making all of us proud to be in India, and you have really taken the Indian cinema to the global stage. So welcome you. Really pleasure to have you with us this afternoon. And also I want to congratulate you on behalf of everybody here for the Padma Bhushan Award that you got recently.
Before we request Dr. Haasan to address us, there is a request, and very kindly you have accepted, sir. Sir is also leading the Sector Skill Council for Entertainment, and therefore we took advantage of his presence and grace to release the Sector Skill Council on Education, the report that we have prepared. The report called Talent Supply and Demand, Analysis of Employment Requirement and Skill Gaps in the Indian IT BPM industry. This report offers insights into the Indian ICT skills ecosystem with an aim to future-proof the anticipated growth in the industry with all the stakeholders concerned. May I request, sir, to please release the report. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you indeed. Sir, the stage is yours. Thank you.
It's my turn now? Okay. Someone has to say start. Good afternoon. I'm a creature of habit. Pavlov's theory works. So it's a pleasure indeed. And I was wondering at the redundancy of me talking to you about leadership. You're all leaders in a way. So I think what you'd like to know is another viewpoint. You have your own. And probably what you're looking forward is not advice, but at the alternate or lateral thought process about what you have already achieved from another industry point of view. I've looked, like most of you must have, at great leaders like, say, Ashoka, Rajaraja Chola, Mr. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, J.R.D. Tata, Ford, you name it. And yes, I did admire their work, copied some of it, and interpolated some of their ideas into mine, and it sometimes worked. I have never looked upon leaders with more than necessary awe. Yes, in my teens I might have ridiculed them, but I've stopped doing that because there is a learning process in every point. But what I felt about leadership, I won't say my humble opinion, it's just an opinion. What I feel is that leadership is very individualistic. It's like your thumbprint. And that is why we chose leaders, for that special quality. And there are as many the types of situations as there are leaders. That's what I truly believe in. So instead of trying to define what leadership is all about, which I have tried to define to myself when I settled on Kamal because it sounded nice, it was not practical. Do not lead me, I may not be able to follow you. Do not follow me, I may not be able to lead you. Walk along with me. Sounded fine as a human philosophical thought, but I don't think that would have worked in any industry, especially mine. It would lead to anarchy. So it sounded nice, but I had to develop my own leadership in a industry full of individuals. And let me explain about my industry so you'll know why I'm fumbling so much with the word leader. Everybody is one in our industry. It's truly a democratic process. And it's very difficult to come to a commanding position. You have to deserve it, or it'll be taken away from you. You're not designated in this industry. Even if you're called a director, the star, someone cleverer than you, who can run the show better than you, will smoothly take over without the title. That's happened before. That's how they accepted me as a leader. I don't know how it works in your industry. Probably it's the same. But to some, it might look fantastic that our industry, the way this nascent industry has come to blossom. But let me tell you, the grass is always greener on a septic tank. So in my industry, which is nascent as you all know, probably the youngest industry in the country, and only recently we got the industry status, and we're still trying to deserve it. And in the meanwhile, for the past 15 years, with thought of corporatization, we have haphazardly grown in all directions, and a few people decided that it's time, about 20 years back, to streamline, and we are working at it, and the results are showing. And we're trying our best, and as I told you, there are as many types of situations as there are leaders. Just because I run my company and about 200 people work under me every film, and it's always 200 different people all the time. Only the top 12 are the same. You can't have the same team all the time, nor the same team. So everything is different. We can't build a treadmill and start running out of product. It's a complicated industry, but I like it. And I have not worked in the past 25 years. It's all been a holiday for me. I enjoyed work, and I think that's the only way I will be working at all. Because I've tried working for money and for discipline, but now I work for what I believe in. If that makes me a leader, I'm surprised. But everybody has a mantra. I copied mine from an old man, and that is become the change you want. Mr. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, the most versatile actor I've ever known. And he had to do that. And one of my communist friends told me that street theater was as old as the Dandi March. So that's where I get my inspiration from. Truly, I chose an Indian situation and an Indian counterpart. Please do not think I'm arrogating myself to call him counterpart, because as I told you in the beginning, I don't look on my inspiration with awe. It must be emulatable. Otherwise, it's a goal that I've set for myself, which I'll never ever be able to reach. Thank you. I think enough sermons. I hated these kind of pontification from a podium. I know you've been stifling yawns, so let's go to the question and answer. At least it'll become a dialogue. Questions? You can start it.
Maybe you can sit.
Oh, there? Okay.
Actually, even when I spoke to him last week, he told me that he was going to be very brief, but he really enjoys, interacting with all of you, so he really wants to spend more time answering questions. So feel free to raise your hand and ask your question, and we can keep the interaction going.
I see a hand. Thank you.
Kamal, my name is Lakshmi. I grew up in your brother's home. I'm a daughter of your friends, E. Damodaran, if you recognize the name. But a question I had for you today was, when did you recognize or when did you realize that you couldn't work for money, that money wouldn't be the motivating point for you?
Can you hear that?
Actually,
Can you hear
a
No?
lot of echo. Can't hear your question.
A lot of... Should have answered your question. I'm just vacillating between ideology and money. But ideology, to pursue that, you need money.
I think there's a question there.
Hi, Krishna here from ET Now. Been a fan of yours since the age of 3. I'm 30 now. It's been 27 years of watching Kamal Haasan. Just wanted to know, are you somebody who tracks something like the economy? There's something like economics, considering you're vacillating between money and ideology all the time. In between all those vacillations, does the state of the economy of the country, the state of the industry, inflation, do terms like these matter to you at all? Is that something that interests you?
Yes, it does. Why do you think it won't? It will. I mean, inflation affects us, and anything that affects you, which is my audience, will affect me. If I think that it has not affected me, it's because I'm not observant. That will be the truth. It's not even like it reaches me in waves. It reaches me at once. All that you suffer, I also suffer. That's why probably cinema is closer to your heart. It's quick in allegory, criticism, and satire, because it suffers as much as you do, and quickly retorts in your voice.
Sir, I'm a journalist this side. I wanted to ask you that how do you, like you said that there are, so many leaders in your field, every now and then there's somebody who'll rise. So how do you deal with this constant change? How insecure are actors like yours? How do you...
I think you'll have to help me here. Could you please come forward? And the echo is too much, and I'm not able to lip read at that distance.
So, I'm a journalist and I wanted to ask you that how do you deal with this constant change in the industry? Like you said, there's so many leaders coming up every now and then. So how are actors like you're dealing with this? Are you insecure? How do you keep abreast? How do you keep yourself motivated to fight every day? Thank you.
Yeah, insecurity is one of the drivers. So I should say that's how I became an actor, from a dance director and then to a writer. I didn't know where I would be successful, and thanks to Mr. Balachandar, he became my mentor and pointed me towards a direction. But about change, that's a permanent thing. That's going to be there all the time. And so how do you cope up with it? Like you do. You were talking on landline, then they gave you this, you started talking on that, and they gave you something in your wristwatch. You'll use that. You will adapt. You have to adapt, or you'll be called from times of low.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nimita Limay from TCS. Definitely an admirer of your work. You made a very interesting observation about how your industry is different from the conventional industry, wherein leadership is not by title, right? I think that was a very poignant statement that you made, that everyone in your industry is a star. And I was just curious about, in such a scenario, what did you choose to do differently to distinguish yourself as a leader?
Yeah, I haven't patented it yet, so I don't know. I'm just kidding. No, but when I said that there's no fixed leadership, that's because we don't have a fixed system yet in place in the Indian film industry. It's happening. It's happening partially in Bombay, it's happening in Chennai. What did I do differently? I tried to translate order from various Western industries, not transliterate. Translate it to my environment. I changed. I made some changes. If you wanted me to go into nitty-gritties, let me tell you about the script. There are softwares for script made in the US, and it's very good because it's interconnected to budgeting and scheduling all in one packet. And it lends to go from one platform to another. I mean, budgeting, scheduling, and the script itself. But it was in English, and they wouldn't give us the right to language on it. So we cracked it first, on our own, without damaging their copyright. We had to do it. We did cut and paste for some time, and then even that the system was not allowing. There was a dongle on it. But we worked on it, and then now we have our own program, and now so many programs are there, we don't have to worry. Starting from there, it was all driven by one man with a dream, like it was in the early filmmaking process. Like one Mr. Flaherty went out to shoot with the Eskimos. He was the editor, he was the producer, he was the cinematographer, he was the director, and sometimes he would also bring in his hand into the frame to do things. So from there, they had designated personnel for each department, and Hollywood has almost excelled in the world in that program. Toho Studio also did their own style of building. The Japanese studios had a system which was totally different. That's why Kurosawa could never comfortably work in Hollywood, They belong to two different systems, and that's what I did, and that's probably what made it work for me. For example, what he mentioned about nonlinear editing. When it first came, they thought I'm this new trigger-happy, gizmo-loving kid who wants to play with newer and newer toys, and that's got nothing to do with actual work. This guy is just enjoying having a holiday, trying new technology. But that's not true, because it cut my work into half. And now, having followed that path in Vishwaroop, the film I made, I could shoot the film, sequence and see it cut in order, in sequence, after my lunch and continue. And a clever editor could also put in sound effects so that I can truly become a naive audience and enjoy it. Yes.
Yeah, I think she has a question.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. My name is Uma. You have been watching technology trends very closely and adapting. Wonder what your views are on the movie going to the theaters to watch movies. Will theaters exist in the next 10 years' time, given that we are all now watching movies on YouTube and Netflix and whatnot? What is your thought process on the movie theaters, whether they will exist, and the movie-going habit itself?
Well, when there was this debate about DTH, and my theater owner friends were very concerned about what I'm doing to an existing business module, I gave them an example which I don't follow. I'm a rationalist. But I gave him a very religious example, Balaji or Velankani, or the holy Mecca in your house. You don't stop going to the actual place, because that is an experience you'll spend anything to be in. And just because your wife cooks extraordinarily well, you don't stop going to restaurants. That's an experience. And more reason if the cooking at home is not good at all.
Yeah, hello.
Good evening. My name is Pramod Sadar Joshi. Mr. Haasan, you work in the domain which is a manifestation of a concept called willful suspension of disbelief.
Disbelief, yes.
You as the master of that craft, as a leader, did you apply that concept in real life when you went through the lows of life? And if so, what are the lessons?
About suspension of disbelief?
Willful suspension of disbelief.
That's what I started my speech with. When I saw an awe-inspiring person who would soon become my hero for the rest of my life, I suspended my disbelief. Wow. And believed that he could only be human. I must find what made him tick like he ticks.
Okay.
He ticks twice a second than me. So what kind of mechanism runs? So that's how I work. The suspended disbelief will have to be there when you hear stories, even a pitch, especially a business one, where everything is hunky-dory. That's suspension of disbelief.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Kamal,
You have to trust and enjoy being his partner, because first thing in a business table is disbelief.
Hi. Hi.
I'm Ashank. I'll take Uma's question one more technology ahead, and that may not happen so fast as what he was predicting. This whole issue of producing actors, simulated actors and IT, and I'm sure you know about. What do you think? What are your views on, or do you see someday we'll only have a simulated actors and we see movies of them?
Yeah, I'll probably do some voiceovers then. But I won't stop it. I won't stop it. But there's something, as I told Ms. Uma, that this habit of going to theaters, you could have watched the whole thing from being where you are with today's technology. Why are you here? To rub shoulders with your peers. It's a special feeling. And why am I here? I could have sent you a note, or like Mr. Modi, I could have come on. Yeah. I'm not as busy as him, but I could have still done that. But I enjoy this. I like to see you smile. I like to see you frown. And then I like to see myself change tact to reach out to you. It's all great experience. I would never miss it for technology. And likewise, Kocharayan today works only because it's Rajani. There'll be some other reason why an artist will exert his power over the work of art. But he may not be just an actor then. He might be something else. And even the actual user, the audience, is multifaceted now. I'll tell you how. Because before, people just watched a movie. Now they are also critics. They're sending out texts to their friends. They are movie critics now. They're sending out, even as they're watching the movie, first reel too slow. My money is wasted. So, see, the roles are changing very fast. So,
Yeah, hi, at the back here. Hi. Dr. Haasan, you just mentioned in your beginning note, right, that you stopped at a certain point of time to look at leaders with more than necessary awe, right? When we grew up, we of course saw you perform, and we continue to look at you even today with awe. And in the everyday life, when we meet leaders, every time we meet a leader and hear him talk, we think, that's it. He is the guy, I have to follow him. And we somehow or the other start copying that leader to a certain extent. So how would simple people like us, probably not as intelligent as you, would understand that this is the time I need to stop. Now I should not copy this guy further, probably do something. What?
no, you call yourself simple today. Let me meet you after 5 years. That's a good wish and a vision of what we are all about. We do change. We can't stay attached to an idol. We keep changing. Sorry, forgive me. So, I was, like you said, simple. Then I realized I'm not all that simple. And you will too, sir. And that's the day when you will be addressing in the podium and I'll be listening to it.
Just to add to that, right? Just to add to that, for example, when I was actually 8 or 10 years old, I remember seeing you perform, do Bharatnatyam, do action, everything. And at one point of time, I thought that I would also should take up some classical kind of a form. I tried my hand and I failed, right? I stopped. Now, that was then and it's today as well, that you look at some leader, you say, I want to do that. Then you realize that probably you can't do that or you don't want to copy him. But how do you stop feeling that I have failed rather than saying that, no, I don't want to copy, but move ahead?
This is no joke. If my mother had been alive, she would wrinkle her nose at what I'm going to say. I realized that about high school education, and I stopped. So there is a time to say no and stop. I respect education. Some of the greatest minds have come out of education. But education are of various types. Intramural, extramural, and just from watching the world. So, but I do believe in education, but not necessarily in the way that it's being sold today, literally sold.
Thank you.
Are you able to hear me?
Yep.
All right. This is VSR from Tech Mahindra, Hyderabad. So I have one question. Failure is part of the game in your industry especially, so you might have experienced many times. First time failure, how you bounced back? The latest recent failure, how you bounced back? What is the difference you found, the maturity and experience you got? I mean, when you fail first time, probably you feel you lost the whole world, right? So can you share some thoughts on that?
Yeah, my failures are more complex now. Before it was simple to analyze, now it's become more complex. But then, what you call failure is a point of view, truly a point of view. What you think is a super successful film, according to me, is a failure as an artist. I don't share it with you because it'll look like I'm either whining or I'm silly. I'm not understood the game at all, because within my industry, my peers will think that either I'm one of those maverick eccentrics who's not happy with his success and he's whining. They don't understand. I'm not naming the film. There are so many films which you must have enjoyed at that moment and forgotten. It never ever comes up again in conversation. I'm talking about those films which made me a lot of money, but personally I felt defeated. My purpose was defeated. So failure is of various kinds. So what do you do when you do a film like that? When the story is so predictable that you yawn even while you're listening to it, leave alone making it as a film. So, and you still are constrained to do it because it makes business sense. That, according to me, is failure. Well, I would be going to the bank, but I will not be laughing my way to the bank. So it's different. And I analyze my failures now as how I have reached you, whether my purpose, what I'm trying to tell you, has ever reached your ear at all. That's how I weigh my thing, because money they pay me anyway. I can say that I won't release the film if you don't pay me. We have such contractual holds, commercials. But that's not what it is all about now. So it varies. That's why I said failure is very complex now.
Hello, Mr. Haasan. Yeah. When an actor becomes a star, how does the star ensure that the actor in him or her does not go away? And the reason I'm asking that is that you've done that quite well as compared to some of the so-called greats in Indian cinema.
Thank you, thank you. You've touched my heart and a nerve. So, the thing is, I turned the star into my financier. The star is in my pocket. I'm the brain behind the star. So I have made him my financier. So he goes out, makes the money and comes back. You've seen those Chinese ducks they use for fishing? They tie a noose around the neck and throw it into the water and comes back with fish. That's what I do with the star Kamal Haasan. I hold the strings.
Hey Kamal, this is Shanmugavel Shankaran from Vellore. I run a information security product startup from Vellore, Tamil Nadu. So you have been an entrepreneur throughout your life, coming out of your comfort zone, trying different things and achieved great success. So keeping the industries aside, what is the message you want to pass back to entrepreneurs, young generation, first generation entrepreneurs like me?
Well, advice is one thing I didn't take too well. So I had discussions. Probably that's what I'm having with you. If you believe this is what you have to do, that's the first step, I think. Because if you do something because somebody told you there could be money in it, you'll find there isn't, then you'll be disappointed. But if you truly believe, and if you can't find the money, you will find it. That's the difference. So you'll reach Peter principle sooner if you don't love it. Love what you believe in. I mean, work for what you believe in. That's all I can say, because it's too complex to talk about all entrepreneurs in one breath, because each individual case is different. So I can't give a general advice except this one.
Can we have just one last question? We are also running out of time. So.
I've heard that you're an atheist, but to all your fans, you're God. So none of them are an atheist.
My question is, when during despair or during failure, who do you look up to, or what do you look up to?
My daughter keeps asking. She is prone to the populist belief. So she asked me, who do you look up to? I said, I don't, I look down. Or inside. I don't look up. I lose my way if I look up,
Maybe last question, final question.
Hello sir, my name is Vipul and I would like to ask you a question wherein on a stage you, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, Rajnikant sir are all together, and some or the other way, do you ever feel that there is some spark which is missing in you, which is there in Amitabh Bachchan or in Rajni sir?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what is that spark then?
Well, if I knew what that spark is, I would be having it in me.
So, on that note, on behalf of everybody here, I would like to express our sincere thanks to Dr. Kamal Haasan for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you indeed. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have had 3 excellent days full of intense discussion and lively debates. And we hope that you have achieved the milestone that you have set for yourself during this voyage. With this, we come to an end to the 22nd edition of NASSCOM's India Leadership Forum. I would like to thank our chief guests, all our speakers, all our guests, our members from media who have graced this flagship forum. I would also like to thank the management of Grand Hyatt Hotel for an excellent arrangement, and our fantastic events team who have done a marvelous job in keeping the global standards for this event. A lot of time and effort has gone to put this forum together, and no conference can be organized without its sponsors. My sincere thanks to them. Our team, the program chair, Dr. Ganesh Natarajan, and many leaders of the industry who have helped in building a wonderful program for the 3 days, and our events team led by Sangeeta Gupta, ably supported by Sandeep Bahal, Sonia Bhatnagar, Asta Juneja, and the rest of NASSCOM team who have relentlessly worked on and behind the scene and has tried to make the event memorable. So, ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to meeting you again in future events, and definitely during the 23rd edition of NASSCOM India Leadership Forum, which will be on 11th, 12th and 13th, 2015 in the same venue. I wish everyone a great evening ahead and safe journey back home. Thank you very much, and very good evening to all of you. Thank you.